Hello everyone, Luke here, and as you can see by the poster, we have a new series. Yes, that's right. Demons, yeah, they're dead. It's all about science now. Yes, that's right guys, we're finally here after months and months and months and months of waiting for The Promised Neverland to end. We can finally talk about my favourite series of all time in terms of manga format, because Monster's still my favourite anime, but in terms of manga, Dr. Stone is where it's at. So yeah, if you don't like it, you can just leave right now. Let's go to the new intro. I love that intro. So yeah, again, like I said in the previous videos, the reason why I picked Dr. Stone is because it's my favourite series, and I don't think it gets enough love and attention. And I've got to call one person out in particular on this front, and that is for Neverworld. Now, if anyone follows the Control Chaos Discord, you know my problems that I have with him. But for those who don't, this is a little refresher. Okay, so he reckons that because Dr. Stone has only sold 5 million copies with 16 volumes, that it's on the verge or potentially being cancelled. Well, I have to say that is BS because of the fact that Chainsaw Man has it's gone up to 3 million copies, and that only has like 8 volumes, or 8 or 9 volumes. So yeah, with half the volumes, it's got relatively half the same sales. So yeah, I don't understand where he's coming from, where he makes those assumptions, or when he makes any assumptions. And I know I do this as well, but he does it more often where he goes, "I believe" or "I think," and I'm like, well, you've at least find out before you actually put out the information. Now, I know that makes me seem like a little bit of a hypocrite there, because I do it all the time. No, I don't do it all the time, but I do it quite a bit of the time myself. So yeah, that's something I just wanted to say before we got into it, and I really think we should just move on before things get a little bit more complicated. But yeah, we are talking about Dr. Stone chapter 161 today, titled Craft War. This arc is just getting really... You can tell how giddy I am when I'm getting this. Okay, so I really wish I'd gotten to chapter 160 when I did, because just the fact the final panel of that chapter just like made me go... just made me scream with excitement. But okay, so this is a new series, so you guys are gonna have to get caught up on what characters I like and don't like. But just for your pleasure, Suika is the new Emma, Chrome is the new Ray, and Senku is the new Isabella. So yeah, you can tell which characters I like and don't like. Well, I wouldn't say don't like, because there's not really many characters I absolutely despise. There's probably only about 2, and despise is such a strong word, because even my most despised characters have had their little moments, and they are Magma and Mantle. So yeah, they're my 2 least favourite characters in the series, even more so than Taiju at times. Which that's another thing I find really hilarious, is the fact that they keep sending Suika, a little girl, out on missions, more so than freaking Taiju. And just for a caveat to that, Suika got a spear in the Treasure Island arc, Taiju did not. You can tell where the authors stand when it comes to Suika versus Taiju. But yeah, that's enough rambling. That's enough rambling on the intro. Let's just dive right into the chapter. Now, just to get you a speeding up of where we are in the actual arc itself. Okay, so the crew of the Perseus has arrived in America, and immediately after arriving, they are attacked by another group of people that have revived from the petrification, which I like about that, because in the Treasure Island arc, it was natives to the Ishigami village, like people who were sort of like descended from the Ishigami village, that had stayed behind on Treasure Island before moving to make Ishigami Village. So I like that we're getting some variety in the enemies in this arc, and one of those enemies, Stanley Snyder, who potentially could be gay. And again, I have no problems with that. If he turns out to be gay, great, more power to him. and he may be in a relationship with Dr. Sino. And the reason why I bring that up is if I can actually get to it. Just bear with me, guys. 1 second. Alright guys, I've actually found it. It was on chapter 158. It's this this little panel right here. Yeah, yes. If they didn't well, it's not really a panel, it's a colour page, but yeah, just take another look at it. Yeah, if Boichi and Inagaki didn't want us to speculate, oh, are they in a relationship or are they not? Why on earth would they put them in that pose, especially considering Stanley is half naked, basically. He's topless, so yeah. If it turns out that they're in a relationship, great. That would be amazing. Like a gay feeling couple. That would be amazing. And I'd love that, because I love the dynamic that goes on between Stanley and Sino. How they kind of ultimately respect each other and understand each other, and maybe that's why they became lovers. And I had this theory that Stanley, because he likes to wear the lipstick and everything, and he likes to, and I feel like he likes to be a bit more feminine, and he was bullied for that, and Cena was the only one who was like willing to like actually stand up to him, and maybe that's why Stanley developed his feelings for. Now, if it doesn't turn out that they're gay, that's still fine as well. But if it's confirmed that yes, they are actually a gay couple, that would be amazing, and I'd love to see where that would go if Stanley decided to actually turn on Sino after everything that's going on. But as we'll discover with this chapter, it seems like Stanley is 100% on the Sino side. So yeah, to recap, so Stanley started attacking the group with his aeroplane. Yes, they have aeroplanes in the Stone World now. And we found out that Dr. Sino had revived from the petrification by actually telling everyone around him to like just remember to stay conscious, pretty much in the same vein that Senku was staying conscious, and they're able to revive at the same time as Senku. And when we learned that Dr. Sino and Senku actually knew each other, it's kind of like a master and prodigy that are just clashing right now, and I love that dynamic that's going on right now between Sino and Senku, that they're having that little bit of scuffle back and forth. And even though Sino would want to have Senku on his side, he knows that that's not going to be a possibility, because in the flashback that we got with him, when it was like hypothetically pitched to Sino, what would happen if the world was taken back into a Stone Age? He was like, I would just rule it. And now that it's actually been doing that, everyone thought he was kidding when he said that, but now that it's actually in that situation, he can actually do that. He can actually rule the world with his science. And God damn it, Inagaki and Boichi know how to make these villains creepy as hell. And yes, I do like Sino now way more than Ibara, because Sino has actually become much more of a viable threat, because now that he's actually gone out of his way to actually kill Senku, it's like he's showing just much more how ruthless he can be, whereas Ibara was like more of the I'm just gonna wait it out and then fight, and then when the time comes I'm gonna strike then. Sino's more about let's get the action going right now, and yeah, that's Sino as well. And last chapter he ordered Stanley to actually kill Senku, and Senku had to really think fast because Stanley was coming after him for No, it wasn't last chapter, it was the chapter before. Stanley was coming at him at full force, just sniping him with his sniper rifle, just sniping down to the Perseus, and eventually Senku had to just quickly make a makeshift bulletproof vest right on the spot there and then. But even then, that still was enough to make him incapacitated, and leave it up to Chrome to actually be the science user now. And I love that they've done that, because one of the things that I've found a little bit of a cliche is like, oh, no matter what, the main character is always going to defeat the main villain of the arc. That's just standard. But that story's coming along and is going, nope, we're going to incapacitate the main character for the rest of the arc, and it's going to be left up to the other characters, like the secondary protagonist. And I know a lot of people want to put Taija in the secondary protagonist slot, but come on, guys. Chrome is infinitely more interested in more interesting than Taiju as a character, and he's the one that's basically next in Senku in terms of scientific ability. So yeah, I love that they're leaving it up to Chrome, because again, Chrome is my second favorite character in the series. So if it wasn't for Suika, he would be my favorite character in the series. So I'm getting really excited now because it's finally time for Chrome's time to shine. But yeah, I've rambled on too much, catching up you guys on where we are. So yeah, like I said before, let's get into the review right now. Okay, so the chapter starts off with a cover page showing Chrome giving the thumbs up and Kohaku standing behind him with a little Senku plushie. I want that Senku plushie right now. But anyway, moving into the chapter proper, we have Chrome thinking to get into the enemy's base, we'll craft a secret super tunnel with the power of science, and we see a little image, and again, I love just the way they make Tsukasa feel less of a threat by giving little chibi getting little chibi Tsukasa. Now I know he's not really he's an ally now, but at the same time he can still be quite intimidating at times just for the way he's actually drawn. But I love that. I also love they have where it has Yukio, Chrome, Kohaku, Hyoga, and Tsukasa going after Sinu, like just a tunnel, like digging under, like, you know, when in a lot of anime where they have the little chibi ones going under a tunnel to their target to capture them. And I just love that Suika's just built a little in the image, a little tunnel as well, to like go, oh, look at this, oh, this is fascinating. Like, she gets distracted like that. And I'm going to do a whole video at some point on why Suika's my favourite character in the series. So look forward to that at some point in the future. Not making any announcements of when it's actually coming. But continuing on, it goes on to say, but Senku is out of action. So whose job does this fall to? And I love that we see Senku having a small smirk or a small smile, because for Senku as well, he's not really the kind of guy to show a lot of emotions on his face, like other than the serious, stern, like get excited, like he's not the one to show subtle emotions. That's what I'm saying. I compare Senku to like Mayuri from Bleach if you took out the entire crazy going crazy side of him. He still has like the crazy scientific side of him, like Mayuri, but if you took out like the crazy like taboo actions of him, then that would be Senku, but also with a bit of Deadpool put in there. So just because of how sarcastic he can be at times, and how quirky he can be at times, I love that characterization of Senku, but I also love these subtle characterizations, because he's not the kind of guy to be subtle, but having this smile shows that yes, I have faith that I know that Chrome can actually do this. So as Chrome brings up a roadmap, he starts flashback to the point where he first met Senku and he was doing like all these little science experiments in the fire, in like that fire that he had back at Ishigami Village, and it was making all those different colours, and Senku was just whooping his ass in what it actually was. He's like, can I handle this? Me, the guy who bragged about using sorcery to change the colour of fire. And I love that we get that little bit of characterization from Chrome, because again, it's showing how much he has grown as a character. The fact that even though he is the science user now, he's still very nervous about this is his first mission without having Senku there to back him up properly and support him in the endeavours. And he's like, can I really do this? Because I was bragging all the time when I didn't know as much as Senku, but now that Senku's out of action, it's down to me, and can I really do this? And I love the fact that they've added that in to doubt himself, to actually build himself up. Like, no, I can do this. He built a frigging water wheel with Kasaki, for crying out loud, without even knowing what a water wheel is. He built that thing. So yeah, I have faith, and Senku has faith. And when Senku has faith in you, you know that you're going to succeed, because Senku, for everything, one thing he's good at is predicting when he knows people are capable of doing things. So as Chrome continues to question his abilities, he goes on to say, nah, that's the wrong question. who else is there besides me? I'm Science User Chrome. And he starts to get giddy with excitement himself, and he's going, I'll craft it. The whole thing, starting with the roadmap. Chrome gets his own roadmap. Can you see why this is exciting? Because nobody except Senku gets the roadmaps, and to give Chrome I'm sorry guys, just be spazzing out, but can you see why this is my favourite series? And we also get everyone else in the group getting excited, even though Tsukasa's like off to the side like that with his Buster Final Sword Blade, double blade thing, and he's just like, you can tell that he is like, yeah, this guy's got it. Even though he's not showing it, he's got it. And also, Kuraku and Suiko. Well, Kuraku's more like, yeah, you've got it, Chrome. And Suiko is like, yay, you've got it, Chrome. And continuing on, Tsukasa with his godly hair, like, just gonna briefly show you guys because I know the new laws are coming in, like about showing panels and everything. So let's just be quickly here. Look at Tsukasa's hair. That is a. Also, I'm sorry if the camera shook there a little bit because I feel like it's on a bit of unstable floor. So just apologies for that. I'm sorry. I'll try and sort that out at some point in the future. Or maybe I shouldn't like move or anything. But yeah, you can. Yeah, I won't move in the future. Yeah, so you can see the hair there. Oh, just how godly is that hair? It's beautiful. Like, my favourite part of the one of my favourite parts of the series, probably in my top 3 favourite parts of it, it's just the fantastic artwork because Boichi, can this guy do no wrong when it comes to art? And it just makes you want to worship that hair of Tsukasa's. And I just wanted to draw attention to that because that is a manly mane of hair. Like no wonder the Tsukasa Empire followed him when he has god hair like that. But anyway, he says this will take time, right? At the very least, about two weeks, which leads me to think that this arc is going to go on a little bit longer than the Treasure Island arc, and that's the thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys have noticed that the arcs are starting to get longer and longer and longer, and I wouldn't be surprised if the final Moon Mission arc that took 100 chapters to get through. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But anyway, yeah, so I reckon all the arcs after this are going to get longer when we get to all, because we've got, as far as I'm aware, we've got this arc, then we've got 4 arcs there, then we've got 4 arcs after that, then we've got the actual building of the spaceship arc, then we've got getting to the moon arc, then we've got the moon arc itself. So I reckon we've got about 6 arcs left of the series, which may seem like worrying, but like I said, at the same time, the arcs are just getting longer at this point, because at this point we're on chapter 161. This arc started in like chapter 140, so we're about 21 chapters into it, and the Treasure Island arc was about Treasure Island started at chapter 102 and it ended at 139, so that was about 112, 122, 132, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Yeah, that was 37 chapters and we're at 21 chapters, so we've only got like 16 more chapters before the New American City arc actually surpasses the Treasure Island arc in terms of length. So yeah, like I said, the arcs are just getting longer and longer and longer to get through, so we may be at this series still in about 10 years time. Back on the Perseus, Ryusui is informing the rest of the crew of the situation that Senku is actually out of commission, and he's going, Dr. Sino and his people think that by killing Senku they remove that scientific threat, which means they could show up at any time and demand our surrender. And yeah, I think Sino is intelligent enough to know that if I did that, there may be a chance that there'll be other people out there that are physically stronger than me and physically stronger than my team, so I better not take that chance. But also as well, I love the fact that they haven't taken into capacity that maybe there is another science user out there from the primitive stone world. And Magma being Magma is like, surrender? Those fools think we'll just give up, and yeah, this is why I hate Magma, because he's kind of a meathead. He's kind of like, at first ask questions there rather than thinking cautiously, especially since they're in enemy territory at the moment and they have no idea the full capacity of Sino and his followers. Ginru, of course, is being Ginru and down himself, and he's like, "What we might not want to, but what choice do we have?" And Nikki's going, "It'll probably happen like Yoga said. There'll be a high-speed pirate vessel to take us down quickly." And I love the fact that they're actually thinking about all these different options and having all these different theories about what Sino and his forces could actually bring now that they think that Senku is dead. But anyway, Ryusui goes on to say, "Would it be tomorrow? A month from now? Who knows? However, a quick strike is risky. Being patient is wise." I love the wisdom that Ryusui gives it, because I've always compared it to like the Tony Stark of Dr. Stone, because he's like a playboy philanthropist, but at the same time he is hardworking, and I love that little twist that they did with him. Like, he could have easily been the spoiled rich brat who left all the work to everyone else, but no, he was like, right, if you're not gonna give me this thing, I'm just gonna commission it myself, and I'm just gonna build it myself if I have to. And it showed in his flashback that he was actually doing that. He was actually working hard to achieve what he wanted to achieve. So I love that about how they did that flip with Ryusui. And he continues on to say, "We should try to guide the enemy in that direction. Am I wrong?" And you're not wrong, because it's like patience has always been the key in this series. Like, you have to take your time with these things, because if you just rush into those things, it's going to be a complete disaster. And showing that being patient and wise and actually taking your time is the key to go. But anyway, back with Senku, he as he's recovering, and he's like going, we see Francois there, Luna and Taiju, and gotta give props to Taiju. Like, he's very loyal. He's a very loyal friend. So, like, to the fact that he's staying ahead to look after Senku, I love that aspect of his character. Like, even though he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, or even in the shed at all most of the time, he's still loyal enough to Senku to show that I'm not going to leave your side, buddy. You are injured. I'm going to look after you. We see Senku thinking, and he's like, "Gotta buy us some time with the genuine Medusa that Yukio's got on him. Dr. Sino is about to get." Ryusui's saying this. Senku is hearing it. "Gotta buy us time with the genuine Medusa that Yukio's got on him. Dr. Sino is about to get a very special present." And everyone's like, "What?" But Senku is smiling, and I love that, because as we'll see, as you know, and as we'll see in a bit in the chapter, Gen is still with Dr. Sino, so if they fire the Medusa at them, then that gives them time. Like, okay, we've given them a point where they're going to be distracted now while they're trying to figure out what the Medusa is, because it's out of juice and everything, so they have no chance of petrifying everyone. But not only that, it will give Dr. Sino a chance to say, "Oh, I'm going to study this thing, and maybe figure out what is actually going down with it," and that will buy them time to actually think of a plan and get everything ready for the initial counter strike against Dr. Sino. Oh, and just one more just a tangent that I want to go off here, because everybody loves tangents. Well, Dr. Stone seems to love tangents, but yeah, one thing that I've forgotten to mention in my room tour video is that this wall right here, that was actually we had to actually have that put in, because that wall wasn't even there to begin with. It went out into the storage room. So yeah, that's something I just wanted to bring up, guys. So let me just move the camera back into position. But yeah, and also another tangent. Tekken 101 thinks geography is everything. Well, I'm sorry, but it's all about science, because without the science, you wouldn't be able to study geography as well as you do. So yeah, science is everything. Get excited, guys. I'm sorry to go off on that tangent, but anyway, back to the review. So anyway, Yukio fires off the Medusa with one of his arrows, and it lands directly on Dr. Sino's castle. Yes, Dr. Sino has a castle, and Ginru is like freaking out here. It's like, we're just going to hand over our ultimate weapon. Without actually remembering that it is out of duty, and Nikki is quick to remind him of this. But he's like, yeah, yes, but still, and he's like, and everyone's like, haha, I get it. A scientist of Dr. Ceo's caliber will see the genuine article and realise that it's hypertech beyond anything from the 21st century. And Ginru and Kinru comes to the collective conclusion and and that threat will be enough to keep him at bay. As I predicted, but Ryusui informs them that it's like, don't be ridiculous. We'll need someone to lie with a phony explanation. And Miario, basically the reporter, I can't remember how to pronounce her name. She's like, and who would that be? Wouldn't that lair somehow have to guess our whole plan and keep the bluff coming by claiming that the device is just one of our petrification weapons? Are you saying we have someone in the enemy camp who can pull that off? And yes, they do, because they have Gen and his Gen and his silver tongue. I'm thinking of Gen from Bleach, but I love the fact that we have two characters who basically have the same name and both have like silver wormy tongues. But yeah, I love the reporter's expression, like just her eyes popping out. It's like, and she's like sweating as well, and everything, and just like, but who are you saying we have someone in the enemy camp who can pull all of this off? And then we immediately cut to Gen just striking one of his posts, going and just putting on that. And he's like, is that what I think it is? Yes, the petrification weapon. And Sinu's like looking at Gen seriously like, you know of this thing, Mr. Gen? And then that's when it clicks to Gen like, oh, this is like, they've actually sent this over as like a message to like say, stolen. Keep stalling again. We've got a plan. You've just got to keep stalling them. Gen goes on to explain to Sinu and Stanley and like the big beefy basically Magma's right through the big muscular woman who's like meat, which she looks eerily similar to one of those people from one of those like Neanderthal people from Avatar in the Great Divide episode, where they were just like, me eat meat, hungry. But yeah, continuing on, Gen explains that they found a whole bunch of them on a southern island, ancient foreign artifacts, and fortunately the one device delivered to your doorstep seems to be a dud. Otherwise you, I, and everyone here would be stoned right now. How terrifying! I can't pronounce that word. And Gen's conscience, like his conscience is like one of those like wiggly worms. Is like, was that the lie you were hoping for me, then, Senku? I can't imagine any other reason to deliver the actual weapon into the hands of the enemy. And yeah, there's like an image of Senku just giving the thumbs up and going yes, because technically Gen is not lying when he says that. He's telling the truth. He's just not telling all the details about how the petrification device works. But otherwise, in terms of how they got it and where they found it, he's telling the truth basically. So he's making it so like, okay, how can I make this convincing? Okay, I have to tell them some details, but leave out other details. And as Gen finishes his story, we see another beefy, muscly guy who's like carrying what looks like a fridge on his friggin' shoulder. And this guy is huge, like big muscles, and yet he's able to carry that big crate fridge thing like it's nothing on his shoulders. He goes, "Brah, ha ha ha! Is this another one of your tall tales, you turncoat? Can't blame me for doubting you after we caught you lying about your leader. It wasn't Dr. Taiju, it was Dr. Senku." And I love that, like, even though Gen has told the truth, because he's already told lies, they're like, should we believe this tale, even if it is true? How do we know you're still not lying about some details? And Gen goes on to say, what What, for real? No way. So the skilled scientist was actually Dr. Senku? I was fooled myself. I mean, those two are irreplaceable, and despite again telling a complete fib here, we actually get Xenu thinking back on Taiju and Senku when they were little kids from what looks like a picture that was actually sent to Dr. Xenu from Senku, showing that maybe there is some truth to this because of the fact that they were actually inseparable when they were younger, basically. So it's like they could actually be fooled to thinking like maybe Gen is telling the truth here, because I've seen them both together at the same time. So maybe Taiju really is the scientist when we all know that's complete bollocks because we know it's Senku. But at the same time, Xenu can't actually quite tell that. So maybe he's probably thinking like maybe Taiju actually was actually the one who was coming up with all these ideas, but he wasn't actually the one who actually emailed me. It was actually Senku. So maybe it really is Dr. Taiju and not actually Dr. Senku. As he throws the petrification device down, and he's like, Mr. Gen's credibility aside, this elegant little machine surpasses the technology of the old world. And Stanley, lighting up one of his cigarettes in like the Sanji style, is like, how does it work? For how long? What is the range? And they're like, oh, you're back, Stanley. And Gen continues on to go, oh dear, Stanley, but those terrible details are a closely kept secret of the battle team. What I can say is, surely you recall the sinister petrification beam that sapped us all 1,000 years ago, and how it was completely unavoidable. Should you lose your patience and strike at the ship, it's right back to being a statue for you. And I love that Gen has actually brought that up. He's like, okay, I need to give something that can seem credible here, based on what I've been saying, all this time, ever since the petrification device dropped off here. So I have to give them like a threat of the fact that we could potentially have known the secrets of the petrification weapon. Actually defies another device that could actually petrify you guys if you ever did try and come and attack the ship. And that's exactly what he did. But Xenu being as cocky as Senku, which my theory is that Xenu and Senku are actually properly related, because as we established, Byakuya is Senku's adopted father, so maybe Xenu, not his father, but maybe more like a distant relative, like a cousin or an uncle, who knows. But anyway, he goes on to say, this is unexplained science and we have no method by which to verify your claim. Not that it matters, as Gen's like, what? And we see the big beefy Muslim woman just okay, this is what she does, right? She grabs Gen's head, like just smushes it together like that. So Gen's like, just like, ow! Like, that must probably hurt for someone like Gen, because he's not like the most muscular, and to have someone of that muscles just crushing his head like that must hurt as hell. But not only that, the girl starts singing, and it must be bad singing, because Gen is just like, eyes are just popping out of his head. Like, please make it sort of like Alex in a Clockwork Orange style. And he's like, what's the racket for? Is this a song? Utterly tone deaf. Yeah, utterly tone deaf. So like, it's bad, like real bad. Simply terrible. Is this your ultimate weapon of destruction? I love the fact that they've called like someone being tone deaf the ultimate weapon of destruction, because yeah, it is a pretty effective weapon. If you want information to get out, just have someone sing really bad loudly in someone's ear. So anyway, continuing on, as Gen is being tortured more and more by the awful singing, everyone goes down into Xenu's fortress as Stanley goes, how's the you-know-what coming along? Once that's ready, their little petrification trinket won't matter, since they won't even have time to toss it. At this point, I can take over their ship before they know what hit them. Dr. Brody's... and he's like, Dr. Brody, my genius mechanic, we're counting on you and your golden right arm. So we have no idea what Dr. Brody and is it Dr. Brody? Dr. Brody and Xenu and everyone are planning to make, and Control Chaos speculate a nuclear weapon, which I don't know. Maybe I more prefer it to just be like just a straight up powerful missile that can basically obliterate the Perseus at any moment. Um, they go on to say, what's the ETA on completion? 1 month, half a year, perhaps. And Dr. Brody, who was the big muscular guy carrying that fridge on his shoulder, goes, "You're trying to insult me, you brat. It'll be done in 2 weeks." And Dr. Cena's like, fantastic, a truly elegant response. Oh my god, he is just written so well. He's just soaking up the fact that he is in control and he loves it so much. As Gen goes on to think, a conversation worth keeping from me. Are they building something? Something dear Senku and friends would never see coming. A scientific item. If nothing else, I've managed to buy us time. And I love the fact that even though he did not hear the entire conversation, Gen is smart enough to know exactly what they're thinking based on how they've acted so far. As we get him going, science versus science, and we see Dr. Sinu, Stanley, and Dr. Brody versus Dr. Senku, Dr. Chrome, and Kasaki. So I love that. Like we have two scientific people on both sides, but also a craftsman on that side as well. As we see, I believe it is it's Gen going, but in doing so, I've also bought time for the enemy science to advance and give us a hard time limit. It's a science versus science craft. It's a science versus science, a craft war, as we see Dr. Brody working on whatever it is. Like, what is that, guys? Can you actually tell me? And we see Chrome actually building his roadmap. We cut back to Chrome and his team for, I believe it's for the remainder of the chapter, where Chrome's like, obviously I'm gonna need help to get this done. I'm counting on you guys, and Suika's like, Suika can be useful, as she takes a rope and just speeds off in a general direction for what Chrome actually wants. And Kohaku's like, how exactly can we measure a darn thing just by peeking at the enemy from the base at the enemy base from so far away? And Yukio goes, by triangulation, with just a rope and a pair of angles, we can estimate the length of our tunnel without having to visit the destination. And this just gets overwhelming for Chrome, and he's just like, because again, he doesn't have Senku here to actually explain it in his terms, and he's got somebody else explain it. Like, it just goes out of the water for him. But not only that, it was the fact that Chrome was thinking back to the arithmetic battle that he had with Senku and how he badly lost, as Kohaku explains to it, and she goes, all you knew were times tables back then. Would it really be any different this time? And Chrome, despite everything, he's trying so hard to impress Senku and impress everyone around him that he actually accomplishes it on his roadmap. And we see just like the blood, sweat, and we don't see blood, but we see sweat and tears, like just sweat just dripping down his face, as he's just making the map and everything. And everyone's like, that's amazing, Chrome. When did you learn to write? And I guess he learned to write in the 40 days that it took to get from Japan to America, after having some lessons from Senku and Yukio as well. And he's like, here we go, an original roadmap for Dr. Chrome's first big invention. And we see just an image of Senku just lying there, just thinking like, I know Chrome's got this. I know he's got it, and I have every faith in him that he can actually save the day when I'm not here. And one thing I want to say here is that I love the fact that they've been building up Chrome since the first time he showed up. Like, he might actually be someone to actually surpass Senku, because unlike Senku, who's more like just a straight up, like, I've got this, Chrome is more of a guy who would like think out of the box, and maybe at some point he'll think outside of the box and come up with something that even Senku didn't anticipate. And I'm waiting for that moment to happen. And I'm also waiting for the moment that, I'm waiting for the moment that at the end of the series when actually everything has been resolved, Senku actually steps down as the leader of Ishigami Village, and Chrome actually becomes the leader. Chrome actually becomes his successor and is able to marry Ruri and finally getting his ultimate wish of actually confessing his feelings and actually wanting to be with Ruri herself. And I love that, and I love just the build up with Chrome and showing like just his determination. He is just as hard working as Senku or any of the others, and I love that about him. And now we get to see Chrome's roadmap, which surprises everyone, even Tsukasa, whose eyes are just like, wow, I didn't even expect this. And they're just like, whoa, as we see the start point, there's got to be engine, iron, Kasaki's bad skill, trees, before they move on to actually having puff machine, which is like the steamer like that comes out, like the exhaust port. That's what it is. The exhaust port. Then we'll need then they'll need cloth as well with the exhaust port to get the clean air machine and energy. And the engine will also lead into dignified rotating loop knife. I love that. Like, he's able to come up with the anagrams for drill, even though he has no idea what a drill is. Which goes into the pliers along with the trees, and that gets to the goal itself. So that's basically the roadmap that we've got to go. It's engine, iron, that go into the drill itself. Then we've got trees. That go into pliers, and then we've got cloth and a puff machine that go into clean air machine and energy. But also Kasaki's bad skills have got to make the puff machine or the exhaust port. And Chrome is like, the baddest part is this baby right here, as he points to the drill. Give it a turn, and it will practically dig the tunnel for us. You 21st century science, your 21st science never came up with anything like this. I call it the dignified, rotating, impaling, land-eating loop knife. For short, take the first layers and you get drill. So again, I love the fact that he is able to come up with a drill without actually knowing what a drill is. And then, obviously, Yukio... One thing I never really understood here is, like, Yukio and Tsukasa obviously know it's a drill, but... Hyoga is in question. Like, he's from the 21st century as well, so he should know. It should be all three of them go. It would have been more impactful if it was all three of them saying, like, so it's a drill. But anyway, that's just a minor nitpick on my end. If anyone can explain why Tsukasa and Yukio know it's a drill, but Hyoga's like questioning, like, maybe it's more like, oh, how did you guys get it from all of that? That's probably what he's thinking. But anyway, there you go. So it's a drill, and Chrome, it's a callback to the beginning of the first arc. Like, not the beginning of the first arc, like the beginning of the Ishigami Village arc or the Ishigami Village saga, where he's like, Senku knows everything that Chrome is for. It's like, oh, come on, how can you know this? And he's like, they already knew it. So yeah, it's a drill, and that's where the chapter ends. So yeah. Pretty awesome chapter. We got to finally see Chrome get his time to shine, and we got to see what is going on the enemy side, like what they're actually building to combat the Kingdom of Science and the Perseus. And also we got some characterization from Chrome, how he's feeling very nervous about this being his first mission without Senku, but also feeling very confident as well. And also one other thing I want to say is that I would love it if once the draw is completed, there's only like a tiny little seat that only Suika can sit in. So like she's just piloting the drill as it's digging through that tunnel. I really want to see that. In the same way that she got back the science cart from the Perseus when Ibara took it over. And also, side note, when we go to the moon, even though they want it only to be Ryusui, Tsukasa, and Senku, there's going to be more that are going to the moon, and I would pay so much money just to see Suika in a spacesuit and a space helmet, in her melon, just bouncing around on the moon. Like, seriously, who would not want to see that? That would just be like one of the cutest but most awesomest things ever. But anyway, guys, that was the chapter. Now, in terms of what I think is going to happen, I feel like next chapter we're going to get into Chrome. It's just going to be our old chapter of just Chrome actually going around with everyone and getting the tools together to actually craft the machine, whilst also briefly coming back to see what Dr. Ceno and what the Perseus crew are doing. But that's just my fear of what's going to go on in the next chapter. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? And what did you think of my first review of Dr. Stone chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lash and Luke signing off. Later, guys.